Hi, I'm Natalie, and we're going to do a module video today about how to do cash tickets. At first, I'm going to talk about just getting your cash bag at the beginning of the day. It's going to be on Lisa's desk, and she's going to have it correlated to the proper bills for the start of the day. Your bags are going to look like this. It's going to be labeled accordingly for where you are that day. Inside your cash bag, you're going to have a sheet that looks like this. And at the top, you're going to put the date, the time, and your name. And then you're just going to count out the money you have in your bag. And so like it says 20s here. If you have two 20s, you put $40. And then same for change. You add it all up, have your total, and sign at the bottom. You're going to be doing this when you first come to your shift and then before you leave. It should be exactly the same amount. It might just be in different bills and different coins. So that is about the cash bags. So we're going to also talk about how to do a cash ticket, and this is going to be on the POS as an example. It's very similar on the iPad. All right, so this is going to be an example of what your POS is going to look like. We just did a simple drink for this example. So you can see at the bottom here, you probably can't see my mouse, but it says total $12.09. So say your member gives you $15. So you're going to bring the $15 to your either cash bag or our till, and you're going to split it. And how you're going to split it is you're going to split that 15 into $12.09 and then the remaining change. What is going to happen is you're going to be taking out change that's going to equal $15 and putting $15 into the cash bag. So you should keep the cash bag exactly the same. After you have done that and you give the change back to your member, I'm going to show you how to close out the ticket on the POS. So down here at the bottom right, you're going to hit close ticket, and it'll bring you to this screen. It's pretty simple with cash. You can just hit cash right here, and that is going to charge it out to cash under a certain member. We don't want a member charge because that's going to charge the member instead of charging them cash. After this is done, you're going to do print and done, or whichever button finalizes the ticket. This is going to bring you to this screen. At the bottom of this ticket, you can see that it says it's charged cash $12.09, and then you're going to print off this ticket. You're going to use this ticket that states that it was charged for cash, and you're going to take it and the exact amount of cash, $12.09 in this example, and you're going to put it in an envelope, and I will show you a picture of an example how to label that envelope correctly. All right, so now we are going to talk about how to charge credit cards. This is common if a member brings a guest or if a member just doesn't want to charge their member account. So first thing you're going to do is obviously you're going to have a ticket. What I do is I print off the ticket exactly like you would deliver it to a member, and then deliver it to either the member or the guest who is wanting to charge a card. Usually they will set a card on top of that ticket, and that is when I would bring the clover over and then charge them with the clover at the table. All right, so this is going to be an example on how to use the clover. This is going to occur after you've dropped your ticket for that guest or member and they have stated or handed you a credit card. I traditionally do this at the table because I like to bring the clover to the member because then it gives you an opportunity to get a tip, and it's best if you're with the member or guest to get a tip. So to start off, this is just what our clovers look like. Power button is going to be on the side. You click that, it brings you to the home screen, and you just type in your number that you clock in with and the one that you log into the iPads with. This is going to be the home screen. You're going to need to go to Sale, bottom left, and this is where you're going to enter the price that is at the bottom of the ticket that you printed off. So in our example that we used previously, it was $12.09 for that drink. So then you insert the card and just hit charge, and it'll prompt you to this screen. At this point, I either hold the clover or I hand it over to the member or guest so that they are allowed to make a tip if they would like. In our example, we did a $2 tip, so we will continue with that. And then the member usually can read and will understand and hit pay. At this point, it usually will either prompt for a PIN or a signature. It's kind of dependent on the card. Remove it, and then a signature by the member, and then done. So at this point, they were charged, and then it'll bring you to this screen that says all done. At this point, you just want to tap this screen once, and it's going to bring you to this screen, and just hit print, and it is going to print you a receipt of that charge on that card. At this point, you're going to take this receipt back to your POS and make sure to charge it on the POS. So after you have come back to the table, you're going to have your printed off ticket from the Clover, printed off receipt, excuse me, from your Clover, and then you're going to want to charge it on the POS as well. This is important because our Clover is not attached to our POS, just like our cash bag is not either. And we want to make sure that the club gets the money for whatever the member or guest is being charged. So in this example, we're going to go again to the bottom right to close ticket. It's going to bring you to this screen as well, and say that the member or guest paying card wanted to tip me $2. So I'm going to put in $2 gratuity. And this is going to also say on that receipt that you printed from your Clover that they tipped you this amount. So they've tipped me $2, and then I'm going to hit credit card. Again, you don't want to member charge them because the member is not the one being charged. You're going to hit credit card, and it's going to state up here that they are being charged a credit card. At this point, I also print off a receipt so that I can prove again that I have charged credit card on our POS. So print and done. You're going to see this ticket again at the base of this ticket. It's going to state that it was charged on a credit card. I'm going to print this out, and it's going to close this ticket, and then I would make sure to keep that receipt. So for the POS, it is very important. This is what occurs when we do a credit card ticket. It turns yellow, and so you're going to click on that ticket again, and it's going to prompt you to this screen. So this is kind of confusing because it looks like you didn't get your tip included onto this ticket, but you already did on that previous screen. So we want to make sure at this exact step that you just put in $0 for your gratuity. Otherwise, it will double your tip and it won't be correct for what the member or guest was charged. So I'm going to hit OK with $0 as the tip, and it's going to finalize that ticket. At this point, you're going to put together both receipts, the one from the POS and the one from the Clover, and you're going to put it in an envelope, and we have an example of that envelope labeled correctly as well, and that's going to be turned into the safe in the office. So in continuation of talking about our credit card charges for members or guests, one thing that is very important to know about the iPads is that this is just your traditional screen that you would print off your receipt from. Looking at this screen, you can see here the subtotal says $9.75. It is very important to know that this is not the correct total. So this is the total of whatever they have purchased, but without service charge or tax. In order to get the correct total, you'd need to hit pay, and at this point, it calculates both the tax and the service charge and gives you the correct total for that transaction. Another way to ensure that you get the correct total is just to hit print pay and to print off a ticket. When you print off a ticket, it is going to account for both the subtotal and the service charge. Service charge and the tax, and you will also have the right total. This is very important because we want to make sure we're charging our members the correct amount and the club is getting the right amount of money for what they were served. Alright, so that is the end of our module video about cash and credit transactions. Just to reiterate, it is very, very important with our credit transactions that the Clover final total and the final total you put into the POS match exactly. That is both with the charge that you are charging the member or guest as well as with the gratuity as well. If not, it becomes very difficult for our staff to charge both. You get your gratuity as well as the member or guest accordingly.